50, this is Hound Dog 7, over.
Welcome everyone to the second round of the Pavlova Cup. It is the second match of this weekend's affairs. It is between two of Oceanic's finest clans, the TFMC and the 11th. It is known colloquially as the OG Derby, and that's because a couple of years ago when Hell Let Loose first came to consoles, these two clans produced the first ever clan match to YouTube. I'm TanknHeals. Alongside me producing today's match is Wompy. Wompy's from ROFS. Thank you so much for stepping in at the last moment and taking on the reins of producer for us, brother.
No worries. Thanks for having me, and yeah, looking forward to watching this game play out.
You pulled me out of the crap. I've got a MacBook, and I've spent the last couple of weeks with the advice from Crispy trying to set this bad boy up, and have been unsuccessful. So thank you so much for coming in with the PC rig to get it done. I really appreciate it. Joining us in the commentary box from the 6th and our first time in the commentary box, Deano. Welcome, man. How are you?
Thanks, Hilsey. Thanks for having me, boys. I'm excited, a little bit nervous, but hopefully I can do the stream a bit of justice.
Going to be fantastic, mate. Really looking forward to your insights over the next couple of hours. Malarkey, I've had the pleasure of already being in the box with you, mate, and I've enjoyed listening to your insights. Thank you very much for joining us again in the commentary box. How are you?
I'm ecstatic, man. I'm pretty excited. I'm happy to be here again. Looking forward to a slugfest with these two guys. Yeah, it's gonna be really exciting. I'm so super keen to see what map it's gonna be.
It's going to play a role for sure. And finally in the commentary box with us, Rum from ROFS. How are you, brother? Tough loss last night. Looking forward to this one, though.
Absolutely. I'm keen to watch, keen to see what both 11th and TFMC have to bring to the table today.
We are all very keen to see what this OG Derby, I say Derby because I'm from WA, the Derby will have for us in store today. The show isn't possible without our streamers, though. I'm going to hand over to Wompy, and he's going to cut across and introduce our streamers for us.
So streamers today from TFMC, we've got the mighty Dragon Fister, FPR Intoxicated, Hacksaw, and from the 11th we've got Hugo Stiglitz, Castro, Nutty, and Supreme Half. The game's just kicked off now, but unfortunately they're going to have to burn this one as it's a Kharkov offensive, so that's not one of our game modes that we play these competitive matches against, so we'll just have to give them some time to burn that, and hopefully a warfare for the next map.
We were all so keen to see another Kharkov map, boys.
Is Kharkov been like in the rotation a lot more than other maps, or what's going on?
I think it's Russian maps have been, for some reason, so prevalent. Same with the British drill.
At least one thing's different, boys. At least one thing's different, boys. It's daytime at least.
So TFMC have the responsibility of burning this one. While we wait for that to take place and the boys get that done, some quick reflections about last night's match. I just want to extend congratulations, Malarkey, Deano. Congratulations on your win last night. It was a epic affair, and yeah, it was one of the toughest games we've ever had from a ROFS perspective. How'd you guys debrief last night, Malarkey?
That takes me to 4.
Oh, look, we always have a nice solid hour of debrief after each match, and we look at the positives and also the things that we needed to work on. But we were just so ecstatic yesterday that we told ourselves, let's just keep it positive today and just look at what went well. And it was good to hear from all the boys
Everybody,
that
all
were
squad
in the
leaders,
debrief, which was about
tell you
30
guys
of
to
us.
stop shooting.
All the
Just
things
record
that
your
they
gameplay
praised
now.
others
Let me
for.
get my gameplay
There was a
down
lot
and
of
we all know.
praise
That's what I want to
going
do
for
right
the
here.
Infi
See how
squads
it goes.
that weren't squad leads. The names that popped up were one person that you probably saw play yesterday, which was Newey. Another name was Dadu, and how he was always in the right spot to satchel the tank. And another name that came up was Microphone and what he did. You know, we had a new role as well to just counter one of your tactics that we observed, and one of our newbies was in that role, and he was praised. You know, we had a new Artie gunner, so there was a lot of praise going on left, right, and center, and it was really nice to hear. It was somewhat emotional for me because it's been such a long road, and you know, it's credit to you boys because this game has it's meant so much to us because of how tough and how much respect we have for ROFS. You know, any other team that we versed against, you know, even if we won, it wouldn't have meant the same. So it's credit to you boys, and you know, all the lads said it was super tough for them, even though it was 5-0 and whatever. It was a real slugfest.
No shooting, no.
What do you think, Deano? What was our debrief like?
Well, I jumped straight into it after you had to come back onto the Lads Let Loose podcast and have a chat to the boys. And you normally like to go through it real methodically, so I just jumped straight in and said, "Well done, boys, and let's have a good celebrate." And one of the toughest games we've ever faced. And I was telling Hilsey and Rum and Wompy beforehand, I've never died so much in a game, and I've played many clan wars in my time. So hats off to you guys. It's one of the toughest games I've ever played.
Definitely felt like that for me. It was incredibly difficult game, and I just felt as though just with my own game I just couldn't get it going, and I feel like that was pretty much across the board, which is a massive credit to the way that you guys from the Six prepared and then executed last night. Rum, any takeaways before we have a bit of a prediction on the game that we're about to enjoy?
Truck over on our spawn here.
I guess I'm still shell shocked.
Point away from it. We'll go opposite basically, but if it's in the middle,
look,
we're going to
probably wasn't the best performance from us, but that'd be down to the fact that Six, you applied a lot of pressure on certain key areas that we usually try to focus on.
Call it at the start of the game.
Overall, it was a good match. A lot for us to learn, but it shows how far you boys have come as a clan, and I appreciate that.
I do have actually a question before we get to the predictions, Hilsey. For you, ROFS lads, what do you think was sort of, if you had to pinpoint one moment or one area that was sort of the catalyst for you just losing control of the midpoint, what would it be?
Sector control. It was poor.
Any specific sector, or was it sort of the east sector, or was it the west sector, or just all?
It was our front door plus our east sector. I think it was east, or was it west? I think it was west. The side that the buildings are on St. Marie. Mary.
Oh, yeah. So east towards our point, our second point.
Yes.
Yeah, east.
He's in a random squad.
I think we lost control of what we usually are pretty good at. But that's down to the fact that you boys applied so much pressure to that area. It didn't allow us to actually keep our foot on that and set up.
Wompy, I'm watching you switch between different views at the moment. Thank you very much, man. Are you want to have a bit of insight from last night? Your takeaway?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I think I said it last night. Was we had a really good start push to mid and taking mid first. That was we did that really well. But and we held mid for I can't remember how long it was, but say half an hour-ish. And but yeah, just once we lost mid, we regrouped and started taking it back, but unfortunately weren't able to secure that, and just losing control on a map that we don't excel at is so we know where we have to focus our training and work on our tactics for those type of scenarios. But
which I know I'm really looking forward to, Wompy, is a bit of that rehearsal and more gameplay. I think it's a good humbling, and it's a good opportunity for us to be able to reflect on areas that we can improve on, and that only comes often from a loss, and sometimes it's one of those losses that you need to be able to take the time to reflect on what's actually not working, and just don't take things for granted. So I'm looking forward to that over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm keen to sort of that training event that I set up that time, just like building garrisons. Like garrisons do win games, so yeah, sort of enforcing that a bit more with everyone, and yeah, doing those events that you put up today, Rum. Yeah, sector control and all that kind of stuff.
They're starting to cap lumberworks, which means we could be close to getting a warfare pop on the next rotation. Predictions for the match, fellas. I'm going to start with Deano. You're our newbie, so I'm going to you, brother. How do you think this match is going to play out? Have you got a team that you're keen on, that you think is going to be able to get it done, and what will the scoreline look like at the end?
Yeah, Hillsy. Both teams are great. I think it's going to be a tight, contested match, 3-2. Swing either way, but I think the 11th might just have him here. Sorry to the TFMC boys, but I think the 11th boys might come out with the chocolates today. What do you think, Malarkey?
Look, I can only base my prediction on the previous broadcasts that I watched, because teams adapt and evolve all the time. And from what I saw, we experienced TFMC firsthand, and the video against that ROFS had against the 11th. From what I saw, I believe their strategies of TFMC will overcome the 11th. By how much is the question. I think it's going to be a 4-1, with a opportunity to be a 5-0 depending on what the last point is. So I'll say TFMC will take a 4-1. What do you reckon, Rum?
Too close to call. I reckon we got a 50-50 bag. It depends on the map a lot here, I reckon, for both teams. Certain maps will play into TFMC's hands, but at the same time, certain maps will play into 11th's hands. But I am going to back 11th for a 3-2 win.
I hear you, man. I'm backing 11th too. I'm backing 11th. I think it will actually, for a prediction for the match, I'm hoping that it'll be one of those ones where it's a tussle over middle and each team is trying to go for the jugular type thing. But it just means that there's this throw backwards and forwards in the middle. And I think 11 will get it done 4-1. Map preference, Deano. Which map do you think the boys would be keen to play on this evening?
I was saying it just before. I was hoping it was a quarantine night. Love watching a Claremore on quarantine, and that's my favourite map. So let's hope for quarantine, boys.
Malarkey, what do you reckon, brother?
Oh, look, I my preference for a map would be St. Marie Glise or St. Marie Jamont, Utah, Omaha. But I think what TFMC would excel at would be a night map. So if it is quarantine night, I think TFMC are going to have a better time. What the 11th strength, from what I saw, was they needed to see where the pressure came from for them to respond well, and when they do respond, it's a pretty good response. But when it's at night time where they lack that intel, they might struggle to recognize where the pressure is. So if it's a night map, I do believe TFMC will have the advantage. But if it's an open, oh, there we go, it's Void Warfare at night. So PTSD for the 11th boys. See how it goes.
Same point.
Look at those
points.
Wow.
And they'll be playing as Germans again.
Oh, damn.
Right spawn.
So it looks like they now know what they need to do. Considering the last game they played with, they know where the key areas are on the map. They know they can get there first. It's a good chance for redemption for them.
It would be really interesting to see if they've recognized. I think we spoke about this in the previous broadcast against the 11th. To recognize how important that main road is coming out of Void. If I had to pinpoint one area where they didn't have
Where are we
enough
spawning?
presence on
Oh, Green, would you be able to
that
come
they
in
could work on,
HQ1?
which it is that main road. Because if you control that main road, you're basically controlling that entire eastern side, even the south, and you have intel of what's coming through the
Yeah, let's see now.
that forest south of West Bend. So I'm hoping that they, you know, rewatch their video and said, look, we need more presence on that main road, so therefore we can get control of that forest and push them south. I'm really hoping to see some sort of move markers, some sort of tank presence on that main road, because if they get that under control, then I just don't see how TFMC can really get solidify a push through the forest.
You understand?
Absolutely. If they carry out, obviously, capture of that key area in front of Foy, things like AT guns and that will stop TFMC from basically advancing altogether. Which, you know, will help them in the long run, because basically they've got a slog here. They basically need to hold on to that midpoint for the whole game, the way the map's laid out.
I'll just put an OP
What do you
down.
reckon, Deano?
Mate, exactly what you guys are thinking. That forest is key. In front of West Bend, the main road, and also a little bit of the part just in front of Southern, I think is real key for that front line. Yeah, it helps them with the flanking. It's the most cover that the guys can use to get into West Bend. But yeah, let's see what these guys do, and hopefully we get a cracking fight here.
Lots of squad leader marks up, and it's that little area east of West Bend. I can see a squad leader mark just south of Foy from the boys in TFMC and the 11th. Like, they know they're going to need to control the east side of West Bend, or it's going to be curtains pretty quickly. TFMC got lots of move markers up. Looks like they're. I'm really interested in the ones up in like H4 and H3. So they're obviously pretty keen to get up and in behind and set up some flanking garrisons perhaps out there and have some control deep to help them with either getting in onto their artillery or being able to push into Kerbu from the east.
It's very interesting to see the plans evolve, and one of the easiest way to see this coordination is with these markers. How important do you think these markers are, for the initial push and continuing throughout the game, Rum?
I think it's good because it keeps good communication between your squads. You don't have overlapping of your actual squads. They stay to, say, zonings. You know, you really need to be disciplined in that type of aspect, because once you start overlapping, you start leaving gaps.
Right,
Wompy, what do you reckon, man?
Yeah, 100%. And as well, you want to pass on your intentions to the rest of your members in your team. So you might have an idea of putting a garrison in one position. You don't want another squad doing exactly the same thing. That's a waste of time and a waste of resources and all that kind of stuff. So you want to pass on your attentions to not only your squad mates but the other squads.
Okay, so straight off the bat looks like the 11th are obviously in the point. Looking at east of West Bend, they've got a few squad members, no squad leaders near that road, so that might come back to bite them. Love to see what's going on the TFMC side, but I think it is that midpoint is secured by the 11th for now.
I think from my perspective, the urgency to push into forest was a little bit slow though. They should have pushed straight through the point, looking to take the forest in front and gain ground immediately. Because if they let them set up in the forest close to point, it's going to be hard to push them out.
Yeah. Agreed. Stop that advance as soon as you can.
Sorry, bro, I shot you in the leg when you went in front.
Make sure they're not close to your
Who's
first
going to go on
garrison.
the eastern flank? We've got to secure these buildings.
Still no presence east of West Bend though from the 11th.
You can see they've set up their tank behind point pretty well. I am surprised they're using the light tank as more of a defensive posture. But, each team plays different.
One tank I like to use pushing up the front to take out the enemy's OPs. Knock those OPs out, then they've got a 40-second timer to get back into it, so Just hope they start moving this tank.
It looks like it's a cap for the 11th on the midpoint.
To be expected though,
Yeah,
fellas.
mate.
Yeah,
You got Hugo
with that map
doing a flank.
position.
He's through here, bro. Here he comes.
Oh wow!
There you go.
Oh no!
He's missed the shot.
Oh,
Unfortunate, Hugo.
good play though.
Garrett.
Seeing 11th on the cap already.
Boys.
I need more supplies at middle.
Oh, on the next point.
On the 4th point, yeah, I saw the blue bar.
No way.
They push people straight away. That's a confidence booster for them. They are. They're on the press.
By the Gary.
Who's pressing him? Is it an infi squad or is it a recon tank? Let's see, hopefully somebody brings up a map and keeps it up for more than half a second. Oh man.
It'll be interesting though if 11th can get that double cap initially straight away. It's going to be an uphill battle for TFMC to get out of that, because once you get Bizery, you've got so much room to play with between points.
No Garrison.
Doesn't look like they've got a Gary up either.
Oh no.
Oh, that's
They're going to lose that one. Looks like it's not been a good start for TFMC, but there's still plenty of time for them to reel it back in. But they do need to get something on Bastogne pretty much immediately.
Yeah, if they can get Foy Road under control, that garrison they have in the red can really, result in getting a lot of sectors under control and pushing West Bend from the east. So looks like they're starting to defend Foy Road whilst continuing to pressure West Bend. So that's a good move from TFMC. Good work.
Good recovery there.
Still not too
TFMC
much.
boys.
Absolutely. Still not too much presence from the 11th sitting out in front of Foy though. Yeah, that sector is still very much key to this point.
Looks like we've got 4 squad leads. Was that three squad leads coming out of the east of Foy Road from a Blue Zone Garrison? They're trying to get into that forest south of Missouri Foy Road. And I think that forest is so key to capping Foy Road, because you have that natural fortification and sort of tanks get left a little bit out of play. They can't really be as impactful as usual. And you can see that Garrison in the forest is already pinging red. So hopefully they're communicating. Look, we've got some sort of presence behind us. Boys, let's clear it up. How many squads are there? Let's get a bit of intel. Maybe move a tank in.
For me, how this helps the 11th is that they can actually get control of south of West Bend in that forest now, which they didn't have at the start of the match, because that instant pressure on 4th point. You can see TFMC have just brought the numbers back, and they had to. It was important, but oh mate, look at 11th in the forest. Wow.
Only concern for 11th is that edge in front of Foy. TFMC have a few numbers already there,
And agreed, yeah.
and it's a perfect way for them to start push back.
Just first gear. Keep us first gear because we got the medium out here.
TFMC need to start getting their tanks in play straight away. Start helping the infantry out, especially on Bizroy. Start spreading the infantry out from the 11th.
Unless you see around, we've got to stay silent now.
Been a very good start from the 11th. That press onto 4th point has given them so much time. They basically control the whole forest in front of West Bend now.
Yeah, quick gear reps now. Quick gear reps.
Enemy garrison down on H.
Look like 3 squad leaders behind Bizroy there on the map. So 11th can get some good OPs up there to start pressing Bizroy Road from the rear.
Hacksaw just took out their garrison and tank. I just missed it.
Nice work, Hacksaw.
Get around into this building.
Recon tank reigning supreme.
Just took one, so they know right either side.
Sorry, what was that?
So I'd love to hear, Rum, you being a commander in a formidable one. What is the
Got an enemy garrison.
your instructions to your
Well,
squad
mine's
leads or
marked,
tanks
guys.
if you're on that TFMC
Truck in
side?
front.
You've lost a midpoint, you've
That's
had to
our truck.
recollect and re-establish your defense. What's the call here to reset the team, and what's the next push looking like, and what are you prioritizing?
So probably looking at survivability for a bit here with your tank crews. You probably want to start stacking your tanks. to give yourself something to really push the enemy tanks out. Because if they can push the enemy tanks out of that gap between Visory and West Bend, they might actually be able to get a foothold towards the objective. You know, they get those AT guns up at the same time, and it all starts to look a bit more hopeful for them and not grim. A funny thing for you is I am renowned for being a commander, but I don't actually play commander very often.
In pub games, but you play clan war commander a lot, right?
No.
Really?
We usually run a different structure. It's been a change for me to play commander.
So what's your preferred role, if it's not a secret?
I am usually front door infantry.
One of my people.
I'm a 70 to 90. Yeah, I'm a 70 to 90 kills a game type guy. I'm usually more effective in that front gap.
Mine's opposite. I'm normally 70 to 90 deaths a game.
Hey, you die a lot in that. Deaths don't matter. Deaths don't matter. You die a lot in front door.
Especially did last night. So
it's a grind. You basically just have to continue the grind the whole time.
We'd have to get up there, but we got fucking no one with us.
that's what I was telling the boys last night. When we're playing as well, like especially those frontline squads, they just got to realise the squad leads have to just tell you guys, you know, you are going to die. You just need to keep pushing, keep that press up. Like any presence you're there, you're keeping the enemy busy. So hopefully you start seeing TFMC and 11th start those frontline fights, and
So are you able to
good to
push out
see.
there to the northeast?
I'm just giving the Arctic boys a hand.
A lot of 11th Gary's pinging there and off to the east and to the north, but they're certainly trying to set themselves up structurally with a number of garrisons north-south of their defensive point, back on their fourth point, and also out to the east there. But they have just lost that one that was pinging. And that east of West Bend is going to be incredibly important.
Good hit, one more.
Malarkey, if I can throw a question to you, mate. You're the commander of the 11th right now. What are you thinking in regards to either asserting further dominance, or are you building up defences, doing a bit of both? What's the advice to squad leads?
Yeah, I mean, I used to be the commander of the 11th, but I do appreciate that. I'm currently commanding the 6th.
I meant if you were the commander of the 11th tonight.
Oh, if I was.
Right now.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I am all about sector control. It doesn't necessarily need to mean that you have total control, but at bare minimum you've got eyes on a sector and telling us what's going on. So the name of the game for me, if I was in Flying Pharoah's shoes, is just spread out, boys. Let's get presence out east.
Head on swivel.
Have some sort of front line, and it doesn't have to be a straight front line. It could zigzag, it could be semicircular, whatever. But the officers need to establish, you know, just presence in sectors that are that have no presence. Intel is the game, and at the same time just keep pressuring the next point, which they are. Yeah. So the only thing that I would you know, maybe change a bit from the 11th side is just, boys, let's spread out east, let's get control or some sort of presence on that main road coming out of Foy, and maybe even expand it even further east, just so we know what's coming out of their defensive point, where are their tanks. And then once you know this intel, then you can start to respond appropriately, whether it's send a tank to destroy another tank, or build an AT gun, or maybe send Arty. But without that intel, without that sector control, then you're not sure how to respond to TFMC's pressure. You're not sure where they're coming from.
Insurmountable fence there, though.
Information, knowledge is power, is what I'm hearing, brother. Yeah.
I was going to say, did you see that play just then from Hacksaw?
Dude,
driving that recon tank through there and taking out all those OPs. That's a game changer right there.
Through them.
Wow.
It does look like TFMC have made an advance through the forest, so they're making ground now.
This is that grind we always talk about. So you just need to keep moving slowly together. Move marks, observe marks, and just stick together and grind it out.
Absolutely.
I'd love to hear your thoughts, Deano. So when you're in this situation, right, where you're in the grind, your frontline squad, and you just keep dying, when is your line of thinking starting to turn to, boys, I need another squad to help me out. I need a tank to help me out. I need Artie here, boys. Is it straight off the bat, like your first death, you're starting to ask for reinforcements, or is it, you've tried to knock down the door a few times? Love to hear what you think.
My thoughts are always, if I can't advance my OP after a certain amount of deaths, that's when I start asking for help. Either it be Artie or a tank, if they're available. So my main thought is, if I can't advance my OP after a certain amount of time, I'm just wasting my time here. So I need to think of something else, or I need to go in a different direction whilst staying on that front line. But yeah, last night I was at a stalemate for a very long time, and I ended up calling. Oh, it was actually Wompy's squad. Thanks, Wompy. And eventually ended up getting some artillery shells to soften up Wompy's hold there on that eastern side, of St. Mary. And we eventually got an OP up there and solidified that point, and then lost it again, and then took it back today. But yeah, that's what I like to do, is I like to utilise artillery or a bit of HE to help me out along the way. What about yourself, Rum? When you play your frontline squads, what point do you say, oh, this isn't working, and call for help?
Bit high, bro. Just a touch, just down.
I'm the type of player who will grind the front door whether I'm dying a lot or not. I will. It becomes a point if I'm losing ground. That's when I'm calling for help. It's only when I'm losing ground. If you're holding them at a stalemate and you've got the midpoint, say for an example, then you don't really need to make ground. If they're not making ground and you're holding ground at the same time, then you're kind of doing your job as that front door.
Yeah, true.
Actually, I'd like to direct this question to Wompy, because he's that frontline squad, and what I saw from him in the previous game that I commentated is he works so well with Dingo, that to the point where if there was a lot of resistance that Dingo was experiencing, Wompy was in position to sort of get behind them, outflank them, and help out Dingo. Is that a natural state for you guys at ROFS? Is that what you think makes you great, where you're not necessarily asking for help, but you guys are naturally helping each other out? Or is it a verbal communication saying, Dingo talking to Wompy, hey, look, I'm going to stay in this position, can you outflank them?
That's pretty funny, because that game you're talking about, I was defense, and what actually happened was we were trying to add pressure to the offense, so I then Rum communicated that to me, and I ended up moving up into an offensive sort of position. So it's just being adaptable, I guess. Like you got to stick to your role, but then your role does change, and then you got to adapt to that. So that game, I was in the middle, same as Deano now. I was in the middle of COVID. I was sweating my ass off, and that was a struggle, but at least we got the result that we wanted that day.
I was just looking at the map. So it looks like TFMC have some sort of control of that road. They've got presence in the forest. But the same thing with the 11th. The 11th is starting to get control of East Bend. They're starting to get a few more heavy tanks. It's coming towards a bit of a stalemate. There needs to be some sort of big move, and I'm thinking either an Airhead or a tank dominance, destroy enemy tanks and support the infantry. It'll be interesting how the next 5-10 minutes plays out.
Oh, that's a bit high.
UAT guns.
I got a tree right in my way, so.
Yeah, I think he.
Both sides shooting short.
Well. He's just hopped off the gun. He's moving right.
Yeah, I might keep firing.
Happens so often. An unrendered tree or something's just getting in their way. I think they're just missing just slightly. So I reckon there might be a tree in front of that AT gun as well. So they're trying to hit the side of it.
Can you hit this ping here, or is the tree in your way?
It's also Artie hitting the same tree, is it?
I see him now. I'll try to hit the bow behind it.
Must be.
But I cannot.
I thought he. Looking through his binoculars, I thought he was in a tank.
It's an AT gun versus another AT gun.
No, it's actually a great spot. The tree is blocking this.
Let's just get another gun up. Somebody else coming as AT. and
Who's
just
gonna win?
Oh, hit this.
We've got that fence in front of us, that's why they deny.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I mean.
The impenetrable barbed wire.
Yeah.
Enemy flare coming up from the east.
I think we've got a stalemate on that one. I think they're just both wasting rounds here.
I saw some engineer blueprints in the south of the forest there for some defensive barbed wire and stuff. Thoughts in a clan match? Is that something I'll personally only see it maybe if we're defending nodes or something like that. Deano, do you come across defences set up by opposing teams as you try and enter a point?
Not too often, to be honest. It's only artillery you ever come across that sort of stuff. Of many clan wars I've played, never really come across barbed wire or a lot of clans think if you do, because sometimes it can be get back and forth. If you barricade a point up and you lose it, you then have to attack that point. So
you cascade yourself.
Yeah, that's it. You kind of block yourself out, but one well-placed satchel, mate, and that all disappears pretty quick. So sometimes it can be a waste of time, but sometimes it can be instrumental as well. So yeah, not too often, Heelsy.
I think what engineers forget is if you lose the point, you build all these barbed wires. If they literally replace their blueprints, all those things they built will just disappear.
True.
A quick fix. They don't have to worry about the taking them out then. They're just instantly gone.
I didn't even think of that, Rob.
Looking at the map, how do you guys think the TFMC have set themselves up? Go to you, Malarkey.
Oh, love it. Absolutely love it. I think the only opening they've got is currently from that southeastern side of Missouri Foy Road, which they've got a OP and a recon tank down there. So they've got solid defense. They've got their squads in the red zone, pushing out of the east of West Bend. Nice red zone garrison. Looks like their recon team is playing that crucial intel role from HQ, telling them there's tanks coming out. So currently I would say the foothold is firmly in TFMC's hands, and there looks like a bit of momentum towards TFMC. So, the 11th need to recognize that, boys, we're losing certain sectors and we're starting to not be able to apply pressure on them. So what do we do here? Do we just keep doing the same thing, or does something need to change? I'm hoping that they, recognize that something needs to change. They need to get control of that red zone area for TFMC, blue zone for the 11th, so then they can have a bit of breathing room. But if they continue to turtle up like this, then it's just inevitable for me that the TFMC lads will move in.
They've gained ground, definitely.
AT gun here, mate. Take this out. Danger ping.
Oh, they contested for a brief moment then as well. Both
Testing
ways,
again,
both ways.
but they are mids being taken at the same time. They've got a Gary still in point.
Look at that push from the southeast, from the 11th on Missouri. Got a solid push going.
Could go either way here. They might push too early and lose the point, but at the same time they might take the point in front. It's all about timing now.
It's interesting you mentioned that, Rum, because I found yesterday against you boys that the only times that we were really able to cap a point is when you were contesting or capping our point. Right, because when you started capping our second point, we found that there was a bit of breathing room on St. Mary, and we sort of were able to get some sort of encirclement going. And same thing happened on the fourth point, where when you guys started capping, we started getting the breathing room on your last point. So it's pretty interesting. This could be a momentum changer and the catalyst to cap either point. How do the teams respond now?
I just want to bring everyone's attention to that G8 grid reference in regards to where 11th are, because they've got an Airhead in and a Gary. And I know you mentioned that OP was set up there in your initial sort of take, Malarkey, but they have got in behind and they look as though they've got some pretty strong presence coming in from the southeast of that fourth point.
Yeah.
Family in now, aren't they?
Yeah. So what's your response now if you're on the TFMC side, TanknHeals?
It's a call to arms. We've got to get back. We want to keep a couple of squads there on that front line so that we don't lose the south of West Bend. But we need to be aware that sector weight and cap weight is incredibly important. I'd want to spot a plane. I want to know where they're coming from if they don't have that information, or bringing back a recon unit and throwing up a couple of flares. As you alluded to before, man, it's about knowledge. I want to know what's going on and be able to sniff out and crush that push.
If you want to hit on my infy marker, mate.
I'll slog on here right now.
What a nice tank battle. 76 versus a Panther. And the Panther's gone. That's
Through a
momentum
slither
change
too.
there.
Hang on, I was gonna reping this.
I think we're getting hit by an AT gun as well.
Go forward, right.
That was lovely. That was a good tank battle.
Here you go. I took the 76. I'm going to get on the hill. I need you to cover.
I do think obviously this defensive tank Skigs needs to be aware of the potential precision strike because they're sitting stationary a fair bit here.
Near the point and on the point. Let's push up together.
90, if you've got a line.
Yeah, I remember that critical
It's
moment
worth-
that you precisioned that Panther.
Yeah, it's worth noting last night you actually got a precision on a tank that was moving.
Yeah. My first ever precision that actually works in Clan War, by the way.
Yeah, all good.
Usually they hit. I got a precision on an IS-1 and it didn't kill it. Hit it directly, didn't destroy it.
Hate to see it.
Looks like TFMC have gathered themselves and got back on Biz to defend.
Just want to see if they've snuffed out that southeast push.
Yeah.
They're contesting mid again.
Yeah, flanging that left side. Watch that left side.
Garrison at the back of the attack.
Pressure's now on. Yeah, pressure's now on the 11th to reset their line and push them back out of the forest because you can see, obviously from Dragon's view just then, they've actually made it all the way to that road right in front of West Bend itself. So they've made quite a bit of ground.
Yeah, definitely hold those ruins and that farmhouse in front of West Bend. If you're trying to take the point, got a good foot straight into that point. So looks like TFMC have made their way up there. So it's going to be a good fight here, good shootout.
Absolutely. Poor old intoxicated just couldn't avoid the wheels of that tank then.
Yeah, he turned into roadkill, poor guy.
Now imagine if that Panther that we just watched actually killed that 76. If they killed the 76, the Panther would have repaired and then pushed up with that infantry south of West Bend, and then they would have been, under, or the 11th would have been under immense pressure on the cap, on the midpoint. So again, these small.
Looks like they got 3 heavies up too.
That's great. That's again momentum changer. But yeah, I speak about these micro battles and how important they are. That micro battle with the Panther in 76, that was a momentum changer. Now the momentum, by the looks of it, is in the 11th set.
Move to that repair station. We'll cover you, Rick. Alright.
Repair station, love to see it.
You hold that way and I'll move on your 45.
I don't see a lot of clans using the old.
Ready.
There you go, tank.
I'll let you finish your point, and then maybe we might just cut to a couple of minutes of trying to listen to the officer chat. We did mention we wanted to take some time to listen to the comms in game, and now might be a nice time since they've both sort of had their push. Let's hear what the strategy is from the boys. What were you going to say, Rum? Sorry, mate.
I don't see a lot of clans using the old repair station stack anymore. There was a moment in time where I reckon it was before the precision strike existed. Clans were very, we can sit a tank somewhere with 3 repair stations on it and it's basically indestructible to another heavy. I don't see a lot of that anymore. I don't know if you see it, Malarkey, or...
I think it comes down to game knowledge. I don't think enough people know that you can stack repairs, and having 3 repair stations out repairs an AP shell from a heavy. I don't think enough people know that. We try to do that at times, but like you said, if you do run the risk of a tank getting comfortable in an area and just getting precision striked. But yeah, I think it just comes down to game knowledge. Even a lot of our boys don't know that. When we do mention it, they go, "Oh wow, we know that."
All place arty round also takes out all those repair stations in one go.
Accurate.
Okay.
Where's the fucking
Our
dog?
11th in here, and I'm just wondering if we. Sometimes I can't hear any of the audio from Supreme. I'm not sure if you can hear a voice.
Here on ping, please.
I'm not getting any audio from Supreme, unfortunately.
Artillery inbound on that forest now, gentlemen.
They're over halfway through the cap. Shall we just have a listen to the boys and see how they're responding in this crucial moment of the game?
Love to, yeah.
Yeah, love to.
Infy here.
I'm pretty sure.
Infy here.
No, I'm pretty sure it's the second time we've done it.
Days down, all good.
We've lost this forest. Inbound in that area, forest. Be advised, be advised, be advised. I need at least one person, mate, in my squad, please, armor.
Can we hit this tree here? Now, reverse it. We've been spotted. I need someone to... Devil, hit this tree, please.
Tapping it back.
Copy.
We are defending.
Ping it again.
Good hold.
Good eyes on him, Jeff.
Stop when you can. Level us out. Level us out.
Nope, he's just fucking me up though, I can tell you that much.
Can everyone hear Forest?
Stop.
Negative, negative,
I can't hear
negative.
Forest at all.
I can't hear him at all either.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yes, indeed, hear him now.
Basically, you need to get some Garys up, mate, up the north.
Baby Gary just follow me up.
I'm doing that. I'm doing that now.
Well, man, you need to keep...
They were pretty close to losing that point, and they were very calm in officer chat during that time, and were able to stabilise. I will note there was one bit of comms of, I think we've lost this point, and then they were able to stabilise at that point in time. I'd like your thoughts on calling that kind of, making that kind of comment in officer chat.
I find from my view, it brings a negative impact to the confidence of your team when you've got obviously people in command chat going, we're going to lose it, we're going to lose it. That's like, you don't need that comm chat. You need people to just stay focused in the moment to either get back on defense or be ready for the recap immediately after. Because if you can apply pressure as soon as they cap, they might not even have the point. You might just take it back instantly.
Yeah, Roger.
Still trying to get that. See that enemy tank.
Garrison? Is that a Garrison?
Enemies are pushing in from E7.
I think I prefer to hear our boys just pick up our OPs because get straight back onto it instead of no, we've lost it. Get all your squad leads picking up those OPs and getting straight back onto it. You got, like you said, Rum, you got a great chance of getting it back pretty much straight away because they haven't had time to set themselves up.
Get up an OP as well too.
We just got another enemy.
Absolutely.
Garrison.
Marker up if you want to ping it for him, Kurt.
I think a lot of time as well is your squad leads as well, just letting the guys know in the squad like that. You get a lot of it, you get a lot of chatter in the squads that we're losing a point when you're on offense. You don't need to be telling the squad lead that. I'm pretty sure the squad lead knows. Just focus on your job, and sometimes you get flustered about losing a point, but keep a cool head. Yeah, can turn the tide pretty quick.
Boys, we need a Gary down south here. I can't. I'm dropping
Right.
supplies there, Matador. Please explain, mate.
I got it. They took it down. They took it down.
It's really interesting to watch that tank's perspective and their response to what's going on their point.
You can see the
by
on the
2020s,
We just got another enemy
used to
Garrison.
have at times, and if I was in that tank, I would
Both
instead
attacking
focus on
Garrisons.
that forest that they're coming from. The 11th are coming from behind them. Hopefully they know that we're getting pressure from that forest southeast story. We need tank reinforcements.
Move forward.
And that tank can stop the entire push. All it needs to do is just turn
If you to
around,
our left.
watch that forest instead of watching, the infantry coming out of the north,
Swing right.
which aren't really pressuring the point just yet. The main pressure is coming from southeast, so let's get a bit of tank presence in that southeast and just HE a few rounds in those trees, find their OPs, and now you've got a bit of breathing room. So it's pretty interesting to see that sort of prioritization from the TFMC. But in saying that, they did have a medium tank down southeast, so they probably already organised their response for the enemy push.
The supplies in.
If they
11th
don't
in the
clear
front
that
door
Gary
again.
there, yeah, their front door, they're in behind. If they don't clear that Gary on their 4th point, they could be in a lot of trouble here.
Supplies in
TFMC.
E6 for a blue zone, Gary.
And
please.
it looks
Next
like
to you there, Slab.
Hacksaw just took out 2 of their garrisons with his tank.
Nice.
Tanks are playing a big part here in holding these points.
Hey, Supreme, just check
Yep,
that
Rosie.
up 2 squares back. It is one
Smooth
spot, not a
operator.
recon spot.
There you go. Thank you.
So they might be on my OP map.
Yeah, I'll go check that out, bro.
Nice cool comms from the 11th there. Good comms in command chat from the boys.
Having a little dance around his tank.
He's probably getting shot at by a sniper there, I think.
Using the recon tank as a decoy.
We just got the enemy garrison down.
It might even be defense of their
Hacksaw
arty.
just took a
Sitting
3rd
it out
down.
wide.
3rd garrison down by Hacksaw.
Here we go. Now it's facing that pressure. Here we go. Now they can secure that.
Gary's.
Come boys, we got the Gary
There
down.
we go. They've got that defend down.
Yeah, nice. Very nice. And they're well positioned
Alright, he's on my
in
ping,
cover
guys.
from any tanks coming from the north. And look at this
We need
tank
their
battle.
artillery.
800 meters away, getting shot at.
Very situational, a lot of situational awareness then. They've got 2 tanks pushing them from 2 different directions.
meters from my OP.
Hit here,
Oh,
hit here.
this is intense, boys.
That'd be great.
Where Hacksaw
It does
and
look like...
Sorry, Rum.
No, you go, Dino. All you, man.
Where Hacksaw should be getting some of his infy to help him out with that tank that has eyes on him. So and be focusing on the tank that has him pinned behind the hay bale there. Like, a lot of his infy on Fitzroy there could help him push that tank that was in front of him back there, so he can get back in the fight.
No chance here. It's only a track shot.
Hit reverse.
Here we go.
I can't see it. Found it.
Oh.
3 here, danger ping.
It's
Right
an
there,
AT gun.
Gun to ping. 175.
850 meters away.
40 meters.
Oh!
They're bad luck.
What a shot. That was a 76 or what?
That was a heavy. Yeah, they still had 95% health.
Yeah, that must have been a heavy. Looks like an AT gun by the damage it was doing from its track, obviously.
Enemy garrison just dismantling.
The 11th have one
What a
more
battle.
heavy. If you destroy that one more heavy on the 11th side, that means TFMC have what, 2 heavies? They can start to organise some sort of push, help out that infi on the in the forest.
That hill behind the defensive objective for the 11s is so powerful. They only need to creep out to take shots, and then they can creep back behind cover every single time. They've got this perfect cover.
I was about to say that, Rum. That medium is in prime position there to help defend West Bend.
Trying to see if the TFMC boys know that there's a heavy tank, the 11th heavy, coming from northeast of Missouri. I don't think I see a... Oh, there is a tank ping there.
Just seen a small amount of contest then on West Bend, so
I
mustn't
think
be much in the sectors.
Recon play a pretty important role in this moment in time. If they want to get in through the south of West Bend through that forest, they need to take down the artillery, because it's a pretty no-brainer just to drop artillery south of their boys in the forest there that are defending West Bend. So props to Intoxicated then for getting the job done.
Yeah, he's straight through at about 30. Yep.
Chance, can you just warn
Garrison
Toby's
with the
driving
Oh.
contact?
Back to HQ.
Forest, we're down.
Off a couple of AT rounds at them.
There's a fuck ton of
But you
infantry
get
on
an
easy
anti-guy?
ping if we can get HE artillery on there.
Where's that easy ping?
Artillery is not available at
They
this
have
time.
built barbed wire at the front there.
Crawl forward with a
Watch
track.
for enemy push east northeast of West Bend. It's also
That's in like a
supplies
tank
going down.
over this way. Can't see it.
Yeah,
What
copy.
a slugfest we've got here. It's been what, a solid 40 minutes now. Just going back. and
Reaching over
forth
the
on
halfway mark.
midpoint. Yeah.
Copy that.
This is exactly what we wanted.
Yep. One.
Still looking at it currently, it still looks like 11th are still firmly in control with that med point. They haven't really had too much contest on it.
Look
Looks like we've
at
got
that
an
Airhead.
Airhead coming down on point.
Airhead.
That's a very game Airhead.
I'll try and shadow that.
Might be
tank.
seeing the
Bombing
old
run on
Airhead bombing run. Yeah.
Got more heavy pushing up.
I want to give credit to TFMC. I think the first time I saw that was from either Narlan or Heine. And I was like, oh wow, that's a great idea, and I started incorporating it into my commanding. So credit to them. I believe they were the first to do it, at least in the ocean.
Yeah, we probably could.
Expect a bombing run over that Airhead to just make sure it stays clear, at least for a few seconds. There we go. Is that bombing run?
So they've got a contest already. I wonder if 11th have identified that Airhead. Especially with the bombing run just coming over. They might get one singular spawn wave off this Airhead. One wave is all they need though.
So Toby just got man of the match. We have a whole squad in middle HQ.
I don't think they've identified it.
Hardy for now then. Oh, actually don't. You got the nodes there. Actually don't.
I don't think they've seen it.
I'm on the outside of just behind the point.
There
I'm
is?
on the AT gun.
Yeah, enemy Garrison.
You can keep him pinged. I'll see if I can hit him.
I've got a satchel.
There's, I'm not gonna have few.
I know, bro. We need to
Tank heading towards the point.
Looks like they've got a spawn.
The Airhead's dropped. They're redeploying.
Definitely got a spawn off there.
You need
nice.
good straight there, calling out the Airhead. Just notice there's no pressure on the defensive point.
I think the Airhead's been taken out.
Even if the Airhead works as a distraction to allow them to establish deeper south of West Bend, that's a big win tactically, because you can see they've got tanks coming up with them, the TFMC boys. So the squeeze is on.
Love to see the other side. Do they have a tank on defense?
I'm not really sure
maybe
how.
I'm flanking, but I can push
They
wherever
have
you
a
want, bro.
medium
That's
up
what
behind
I've
the
been
hill,
doing.
so they don't have a heavy.
This might be a game.
Ah,
They
not at the
have an
moment. It
AT
looks
gun.
like they haven't got a tank at all. Looking at that map at the moment.
Wow.
So this
Panther
might be
coming
the
in.
moment.
This is a Panther, right? Oh, but
It's
too far
yes.
away.
It's just in the wrong position.
Mm,
They're in.
this is a game changer moment here. How did the 11th respond to that 76?
Grenades out. Dragons.
I think they just need to hold the push. Get the push to hold enough for the Panther to come in and help them.
You know what? This is what you guys do so well, Grunt and Uzi and Wompy. That you guys just start throwing rockets at the tanks. Because what that does to the tank room and the tank room and the tank commander is it just sort of stresses them out. They need to stop it and behind those ATs.
Makes you
and then
nervous.
Yeah, it makes you nervous, and then in that time your Panther's in position. The Panther's coming in, it's got the intel and it can destroy it. So at times I think ATs, you just need to throw your rockets, even if you track it, or if you hit it and damage it halfway but you can't get a second hit, you've done your job.
Worth
And
noting
ROFS do
11th
that really well.
in.
They look well in, mate. And this has been the game, hasn't it? When one starts to apply pressure and it doesn't quite kick off, the other team is able to then reignite pressure on the offensive point. Oh!
That was a close one.
Just a touch on Malarkey's comment before. I appreciate that. Just obviously it wasn't trying to jump over it. Just trying to note that they were capping.
One more. That's him. He's stopped.
No, it's always good to pick up what's going on in the game. It's
Oh, fuck me.
I was getting sad.
11th look like it's well in. That's it. 4th point looks like it belongs to the 11th.
No, it's on the back, man.
Oh,
They
that's
win.
there.
TFMC have got work cut out to get that defense down, but they are contesting it every now and then, so it's not fully in their hands just yet.
Yep, I'm redeploying. Give me.
Could go either way here.
Redeploying now for you.
Oh, shit, they're making a big push on the south now. Massive push.
Massive push
They've
coming
got
south
a
here, lads.
lot of control.
I just got
Crikey.
fucked myself.
Another tank on I
We got-
marker next to the point.
And what's another tank? Kev, what's another tank?
It's a
Getting alright.
76 on I marker. He's stationary.
Got it. This is gonna be you, boys. All the armor's down. We got Sadie. Big guns are out.
Ooh, all the armor's gone for the 11th.
Rockets at him.
He's not gonna hit us.
Here we go.
I think TFMC haven't got too much armour up still as well, apart from obviously Hacksaw's tank here.
Artillery on my attack marker, be advised.
They're capping again. That is a garrison.
Oh, here we go.
Or a repair station.
This might be a cap for...
Oh, there we go.
Hey, whoa.
There we go.
West Bend has
How
no garrison on, we just got it.
Now it can turn on its head.
Wow.
In this game.
They're getting the defense down on the other point as well.
Artillery going to the north of
Wow. Work from the TFMC boys.
This tank, this 76, the one we were talking about, it's been there for ages, has been crucial to that run-in, especially because 11th tanks have been taken out. And now I've got so much pressure on that midpoint.
Of West Bend now. Artillery's going to the north of West Bend now.
I'm going to drop an AP mine up here.
I just worry for 11th here, if they lose this point, are they able to get it back? It's a hard point to take back.
Roger, middle of Viceroy Road.
This is on the 11th. Put more pressure back on Viceroy as well.
That PZ4's rolling in too on Bazori.
I'm gonna put the tank on, 3-man on the south.
Getting defend down too.
Credit to 11th. They've tweaked it.
Fighting for
They've
it.
flipped the cap.
And pressure's back on TFMC here.
Yeah, I think, is that, that's a heavy coming in from the east of the Viceroy.
I think they've missed the heavy coming in on their fourth point TFMC, and that heavy is now putting pressure on them.
Back up, right end, stick down. There's a guy right behind us.
Oh my god.
They've got no one with them now.
76 is static.
Oh,
Thank you.
that's a clutch save.
Oh.
We're good, stop.
It is a PZ4.
But I think they're going to lose their fourth here.
And then, you know, this 76 is going to be all by itself.
No, it's a PZ4.
Alright, back up, let's get out of here. We need to get back to
Yeah, that
Viceroy.
point's gone.
Falling right back to best
Do they have anything on their 50?
11th,
Heavy coming back.
they don't. 11th strike. They really did just strike.
11th cap.
Get a foothold first, get a foothold.
These
Don't get shot.
garrisons going.
Okay.
Well done, 11th. Well done.
Boys, I'm going to start dismantling Gary's. I'm going to start dismantling Gary's, so just bear with me.
But do you think they have a good chance of keeping their fourth point here? Because I'm just looking at the map and they've got one garrison that they're coming out of. They've got a few OPs on the point, but no tank support. And TFMC have 2 heavies. Yeah, they're a bit stranded. But if they keep their heavies in, they have a very good chance of recapping that fourth straight away before the 11th get their heavies in position.
Because I'll get one in the forest on the
Behind the
right.
thing.
Absolutely.
10 degrees. 50, he's right there.
It's like Dragon and that protecting their tank.
Love that. Love that. Protect your tank.
Definitely got to get that track repaired though, so they can get moving a lot quicker.
Thank you, Matador. We'll get one out for
In front, Fister.
And for the boys that are watching that might be new to tanking up, if you rep just a little bit of your tracks, just 1% of your tracks, you get all 4 gears back. So currently this tank is stuck on first gear because their tracks are fully destroyed. If you just rep for a second and get your tracks above
Forest,
1%,
I've got an attacking OP
then now you
available
have
northeast
full
of
gears back.
Bazori.
So they get a bit of breathing room, just rep it for a little bit, they can just go out of it.
Fister's coming in clutch here. He's basically saved this tank.
Good shooting there from Gustav. Good shooting, mate.
Once you
Your thoughts, Wompy, at this stage of the game? What would you be going to look to try and get it on the advance if you were TFMC?
I was just going to call out how good Dragon was just then protecting that tank. That was so good to watch. I don't know, I'm all about that, regrouping, taking that breath, before, like, making any rash decisions, rather.
Are you by yourself?
I think looking at the cap perspective of what was going on there with TFMC and 11th, I think TFMC just didn't push hard enough when they were on that West Bend cap with the tank. The tank probably should have pushed a lot more aggressively.
Hey, Jedi, do you want to just take the
in that moment.
For now?
So they're
they're
very,
taking
they're
the
very
Gary.
open now to that last point.
There though, where Jedi said, and then go, or Leo goes.
76
I think they have a Gary still.
Let's get some
no.
recon players up around the
Didn't
point,
look like it.
please. Recon players around the point.
Who, the 11th or TFMC?
Who's got cross?
Is coming for me, boys.
Didn't look as though TFMC had any blue zones. Yeah.
We need to can
Oh
we
no, there's
send
an
18
11th got a Gary on the
defense
point.
the medium?
Guys,
Guys, what's the map?
North
And
flank,
his
lads.
move markers
North
up
flank.
south, and southeast of that.
North, we need to
set up
send a
some,
flank squad on that, please.
forests
Slav.
South of their defensive point too.
So Supreme
Not that
said
Gary
Would you be able to go north?
Delta 10
Go have a look at what's happening up in
in
the north
behind.
here?
I've
Real
cleared it
deep.
out, but let's get it covered.
north of Fitzroy.
Oh, look at that west side. There's a Lux pushing the 76.
It's funny because it's not something many people would know, but your light tanks can actually pick up your heavy tanks.
What have you
So if you manage to get, I don't know if you've seen us ROFS boys do it in a comp match, not in a comp match, in a pub match. If you get in front of a heavy tank, right, and you're in trouble and they miss their shot, if you drive straight at the front, because of the plate design on the front of the light tanks, you can pick the heavy tank up. Now, if you're in a Stuart, you can now belly shot that tank while it's on top of you.
Yeah, I've
I
had
think I've
first-hand
actually been.
experience of
Yeah.
that. Are you rum? I think I was.
I think
yeah,
I've had that happen to me.
Might have been by me. But it's really crucial because you can use it to, if a tank's sitting on the edge of the map, a light tank for a heavy tank, you just push it out of bounds. Take it with you.
Yeah. So we knew there was a lot of guys coming front, guys.
Yeah.
So I'll ask a question to
but
the
till
boys
then,
at Command,
push
Rum
from that
and
Gary that Puna just
Malarkey.
built. Straight
For
on to that
TFMC,
point.
where do you go from here?
Come on, you okay with me
Start
taking
with
the default recon
you, Malarkey.
look, I think it's all about sector control.
Oh, yep.
So whatever sector that you have no
we've got
presence
enemy
on,
here.
then focus on it. And then I just identify the win condition or force multiplier sectors. And on this map, force multiplier sectors are usually power positions for tanks. So first things first, get sector control, get at least some sort of presence in every sector that the 11th can push through. And then get your tanks in these force multiplier sectors, right, with a bit of support. Step by step. Don't panic. Don't try to do everything. Everybody just do your job. Get control of this sector. This other person get control of this sector. Hey, tank crews, you go over here. You have empty support. Calm and collected. Everybody has a plan. It's when, everybody's trying to do, or a certain squad is trying to do everything, and then another squad is trying to do everything, and the tank crew is trying to do everything, is when things start to go haywire. So just stay coordinated. Keep that, communication stable. Stay calm and collected. That's our approach.
Very nice.
That's a cheeky play there by the
Is that AP?
Lux.
Love squad.
Could just be a decoy.
Yeah, right. We just got such
Because obviously they can't kill each other front on. They both know that. It's a Stuart can kill your light Lux from the side, but he's got to get a side shot, and when he's got no bloody armor, no tracks, he's done.
Oh no. Just taking on a short.
Deano,
Does look like they've got a.
Sorry, Ron, go ahead, mate.
It does look like they've started a cap back on Flying Pharoah too. TFMC. I just noticed the bars starting.
It's just through the front door there as well.
Not an easy way in.
Anything close, ask what anything close, ask what
They did well to reset up their blue zone garrison so they could push from the south straight away. Put the pressure on.
I squad, get back here.
Absolutely. What were you going to say before, Malarkey, before I cut you off? Apologies.
I'd love to just pick, Deano.
Sorry, bro. Enemy bomber run coming over the point.
So,
Was that friendly?
for you guys, TFMC,
That's enemy.
Yeah, we're trying. We're getting pushed really hard with these.
How are you guys managing your squad? And this is for the newer guys and new future squad leads. How are you sort of almost micromanaging your squad, whether it's a 4-man squad, 3-man squad, to push through this forest? Are you establishing a machine gunner, for example? Are you prioritizing an AT gun because you know there's a tank nearby? Are you just guns blazing, push through this forest as best as you can?
What's happening, mate?
I'll go first, Wompy, if you don't mind. Or,
Yeah, sure. Go for it.
I'd be, like you said, utilising a machine gunner to start suppressing where we're going to be pushing. And also seeing who in my squad has a level 9 grenadier who can also utilise smoke to good effect. I think a smoke push is always good fun. But yeah, just keep at it, keep pushing it, keep firing, keep their heads down. Suppression is your best friend. They're going to be hiding from you, so you can just slowly keep pushing up to that point. And yeah, sorry if I'm going too long, but looks like 11th are capping the last point, boys. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, Crispy's just said, let's go for the jugular.
There we go, they're all over it.
Making a statement here.
3-0.
3-0, wow.
Far out.
Oh, it's...
And they got no Garys.
Oh, wow. You know what? Claps for the 11th. I underestimated them.
Good shit, boys.
Listen to them go. Well done, boys.
GG's all day.
Fuck yeah, shit, boys. Come on, let's go.
Bro, you left when I called a shot and you just did
A hell of a difference.
Fucking well done, lads. Beautifully played.
G'day.
Well done, 11th. Well done.
Holy crap.
Congratulations, 11th. Good on you, boys.
Congrats to the 11th.
To
Wow.
the TFMC, boys.
Big ups to Pharoah, big ups to all the squad leads. I mean, you guys, they did absolutely amazing. The way they coordinated their tanks and how they destroyed the enemy tanks. You know, we saw that TFMC had their heavies up the majority of the time, and we like to think that Foy is a, you know, we rely on tanks on Foy, but somehow, you know, the 11th just capitalized even when they didn't have tanks, and they had some solid pushes, and their comms were great, and you know, it paid. It showed that they learned from previous mistakes against ROFS, and you know, they came with a set game plan, and their game plan worked. So props to them. That was absolutely amazing and very impressive.
Not to discredit the TFMC boys there, you know, their tanks played a crucial part in the way they moved and stuff. It just obviously didn't go their way today.
Yeah, congratulations definitely to the 11th. I love the fact that it's the learnings from the previous week, the control of the middle point to the south, being able to be out to the east of West Bend, and then just peppering away and seizing those opportunities. They had good structure on their defense. They had lots of Garys up, and then when they got pushed, they were able to stabilize just for the briefest of moments, and then seize that opportunity to then switch into the offensive gear and put extreme pressure on TFMC to obviously contest. And then if they didn't quite get it, they were then able to re-establish a firmer foothold, and then they'd go for it again at a different point a few moments later, and then were able to capitalize and capture the point.
Yo, fellas, can you hear me all right?
A couple of boys have joined us. Who's in here with us?
It's your best friend, Jedi Batman.
Hey, Jedi.
Crispy's
Welcome.
here. Frank's here as well.
Welcome,
Hey,
fellas.
lads.
We were just having a chat about how impressive that display was from the 11th to get the 5-0 there. Let's hand over to the victors straight away. Crispy, can you just tell us how you're feeling? And I'd love to hear from you, mate.
Oh, mate, my hands are still shaking from that. That was a fucking intense game. Credit to TFMC, their tanks just kept coming and coming and coming, and that was what was, you know, stopping us getting a foothold on those points. We always knew that they were going to bring their tank game, you know, with the likes of Fubar floating around in those light tanks and the recon tanks, and they made life very, very difficult for us. But man, what a fucking effort from the 11th boys. I'm so happy for them. And yeah, I'm sure Jedi will elaborate on that as well.
Yeah,
Jedi,
absolutely,
thoughts, mate?
crispy. Yeah, it's one of those games against TFMC when you start clothed and end up basically starkers. We learnt a lot from last week's game against ROFS, obviously. Basically the same map setup as well. So we spent a lot of time in VCs last week reworking our attack, and TFMC did not make it easy. TFMC a classy side, so it's always going to be difficult, like Crispy said, with the tanks, but yeah, it was outstanding from the 11th boys. Like, I'm just so stoked for us, so stoked for the boys, and just, condolences to TFMC. But, so happy for my boys.
Definitely condolences to TFMC. Frankie, thoughts initially after the match, mate?
You don't need to do condolences. No one died. It's just commiserations is fine this time, I think, boys. Last week it was TFMC versus TFMC. They shot themselves in the foot a million times. This time it was TFMC versus the VoIP. So I'll paint you a picture, because then I'm going to ask you for yours. We could have lost that match. I don't know if you saw it, but I'll ask you that in a second. We could have lost that match in the opening 5 minutes because multiple squad leads lost all of their comms. So we were running squads with second in commands being the squad leader. So we didn't have the time to get people to back out and jump back in again. And this is nothing to take away from 11th. You boys fucking play awesome. We always play awesome. The matches are always sick, so don't think I'm saying that. But we lost multiple squad leads. We lost Braz, we lost Taha in my squad. So I was a squad leader today, boys. Hey, give me a round of applause. I squad led today. Without being an actual squad leader. So I wasn't the one placing the OPs. I wasn't one putting necessarily all of the pings down. I was putting pings up. But we were having boys basically as second in commands running full squad. So I had Kenny and Purple with me, who are completely new to the game. Other squads had other new players. Well, not completely new, but they're new to the clan war setup. And so, you know what? I'm going to put a smile on the dial and say, for what we were going up against, which was a fucking tough 11th, plus no comms amongst multiple groups, and including not hearing from the commander, we were fucking up against it today. If this wasn't the Pavlova Cup, and Jedi and Crispy, I reckon you'd agree with me, one of that match, we would have just let you roll it. We would have sent a Discord message through and said, hey, let's start again. Is that all right? And we would have, because that kind of thing happens all the time. But couldn't do it today. We put up a fucking good effort. For all the TFMC boys that are listening, I'm fucking stoked and so proud of you. Kenny and Purple, thank you for listening to me. And thank you for all the boys that were working in Blue Chat on overtime. I've never seen Prox Chat going off that fucking hard. We learned from our mistakes last week. We were sticking closer with our tanks, not super close, but working around them. So it was nice to hear Crispy pay some, give some flowers to our tankers, because they had it rough last week. But at the end of the day, comms broke down. We were doing what we could. I'm surprised we lasted as long as we did. So that's a big credit to our boys. But 11th boys, fucking hats off. I was going to come on and say silly stuff like, we did this for you so you can stand a chance if you beat C. I'm not going to do any of that corny bullshit. Like, massive respect, 11th. And that's for all of you new listeners, before I do throw it back, because I know I babble on, that's what the OG derby looks like. And if you're watching that for the first time, go back and watch Crispy's and my back catalogue, because there's a fucking bunch of them in there that are all exactly the same. It was an absolute ripper of a match. Heelsy, sorry. Wompy, how did you go, mate? Was it all right?
Yeah, hats off to you guys for doing this all the time. That was it was all good. I was a little bit stressed, but yeah, when it came to like transitioning and talking at the same time, I'm a typical male, can't do two things at one time. So, but
hats off to you, Wompy. You had for those that don't know, Wompy had a crash course to do this in about 2 to 3 hours. So he picked it up so quickly, and yeah, well done, mate. You've done fucking phenomenal work.
What was your rating of the match, boys? Can we start with Heelsy, and can I just hear it all? Can I be a massive nerd and hear your view of the match?
I really enjoyed it. It was tactical. I was learning a lot actually from my fellow commentators and talking about the way that tanks were operating, and I think listeners will really value that insight. I learned a couple of things from the fellas as they shared their insights. I loved I loved seeing Crispy at the back there and a few of the boys just setting up really, really strong structurally for defense. And we took a moment as well, Frankie, just to listen to the comms and hear the calmness in the officer chat. We did notice there was a moment where we came across and we could hear that people were unable to hear Forrest, which made it incredibly difficult, obviously, for the team. But I loved the nuances of we're pushing, or this could be a cap here, and then the defensive team digs in and stops the cap, and then it's flipped, and often it would flip in the favour of 11th, where they would then use that moment to shift momentum and be able to take the next point. And lived up to the reputation of the OG Derby, mate. It was incredible.
Just quickly talking about the comms issues and stuff, we lost Pharoah at the start of the match as well, and then I know I think Morkel said he forgot to turn his monitor on until halfway through the game as well. So that
I had a really interesting encounter with Zero Ducks. We were pushing in the Jeep, and all of a sudden he redeployed, got back in, and his controller, I don't know if it was his controller or his connection, he just started crazily firing his MP, shot myself and Blake's, and he couldn't control his weapon. So I don't know what happened there. I know that Hugo lost the gunner as well at one point. I could hear him on Red Chat saying that he'd lost the gunner. So yeah, we did have our fair share of connection issues as well, unfortunately, which is the game that we all love, and unfortunately it happens from time to time. But just it's a shame that it happened in such a competitive match today.
No, fucking shit happens. What do you reckon, Malarkey? How did it go?
Look, I underestimated the 11th. I'm gonna, be honest, and my prediction was for TFMC to take it, but I was so impressed, and I'm so proud of you, 11th lads. It really showed the backbone and your learning experience from the previous game. We talk about Foy being a tank-heavy map, but I believe that TFMC had the tank dominance, and even then, the 11th, destroyed the enemy tanks, had AT guns up, never allowed the tanks to be as impactful as they could have been. So to me, this match really showed that when the 11th, hunker down, learn from their experiences, it doesn't matter what happens with their tanks. It doesn't matter what happens with their recon or anything like that. Their infantry is solid, and their infantry will put up absolutely amazing garrisons, push in a coordinated way, and overcome any stress or any encounter that's in front of them. So props to you boys. I'm super proud. I'm super impressed from you lads. Your defense, your offense, your AT guns, repair stations, your sector control, and the things that you learned, and it was absolutely amazing. I'm super proud and super impressed. So props to you boys. Claps to you lads. Happy to see it. What do you think, Deano?
Deano, can you say something nice about fucking TFMC?
Yeah, of course. Again, congrats to the 11th boys. Jedi, Crispy, fantastic work. Same to the TFMC boys. I'll start on your end, Frankie. You guys recovered really well, and the 11th were trying to put the foot on the throat, mate. There's a couple of times there I thought, the 11th have got it, but surely enough, TFMC recovered real quick. So props to the boys and the Hacksaw and the tank. He's just absolutely destroying garrisons there. I can't wait for you boys to look back at the footage. But Jedi and Crispy, man, and great job, boys. Unbelievable. Everywhere from your garrison placements, your tanks, recovery. Again for you guys, really good job, eh? Really enjoyed my first time on the stream watching that.
Cheers, Deano. Cheers, Malarkey.
Cheers, boys. That's fucking awesome to hear. So yeah, it means a lot. Thank you.
Rum, what do you think?
Condolences to TFMC. Franco, I think it just wasn't your day today. You boys, you tried. Honestly, there was a moment there where it could have gone either way on midpoint. You just had your tank up there. You were on the midpoint cap, and it just looked like you were going to get the cap with that garrison takedown in 11th. Impressive work. You got the defense down, and you flicked the switch and got the attack on that 4th point. you really, you drove a stake into that point and you made sure it was yours.
It was a good layout tonight too, I reckon, boys. Like we were so close to getting that mid cap a few times, but I don't know if you boys saw it on the map. The distance between middle and the next objective for the 11th, which was our second point, and then the distance between that back over to the left for the final point, that big, massive open field. So it was a dead set nightmare, I reckon, for both teams. Jedi, were you seeing the same thing? Like, just there was no man's land trying to hold a foot on those two spots there in those open fields.
Yeah, it's something like we basically, I think we had the exact same for us middle point and fourth point layout as we did last week. So like we spent a lot of time restructuring our offense to probably be less front foot forward and being able to switch to attacking that fourth point rapidly to get the pressure off and holding that forest, like Rum, I think it was Rum that made the comment last week saying who holds the forest holds the midpoint. So we spent a lot of time, I know Blitzkrieg spent a lot of time in that forest dropping anybody he saw, and that guy doesn't miss. So I feel sorry for whoever was running in there. But yeah, it was massive expanses we had to cover there from both sides to get anywhere near the middle of to cap those points. So it's hard work.
Fuck yeah. How good's Hell Let Loose, eh, boys? No matter what, I fucking love this game. It's so good.
If you'd allow me, lads, just to lead the questionnaire for both sides, I'm sure we all have a lot of questions. I know I've got 1,000 questions to ask, but I'm going to try and narrow it down to only one. And this is both to Jedi, because I know Jedi is more offense and Crispy is defense, and I'd love to hear your point of views on here. Again, I could ask 1,000 questions, but the question that I'm thinking about is what were the garrisons, right, that really solidified both offense and defense? I saw a few, for example, for the fourth point, there was a garrison far east that allowed your offensive guys to get into the forest southeast of Missouri. And I also saw from Crispy's point of view, when you lost your garrison on the midpoint, you also had another garrison northwest of the point that you just sort of came straight back into the midpoint. So if you guys were to narrow down a few garrison placements and a few areas that you concentrated on offense and defense to help you cap the fourth and help you cap the fifth or defend it, where were they?
You want to go first, Crispy?
Yeah, I'll go. Yeah. So look, I think what we were focusing on mainly this time was just our garrison maintenance. I think that's what let us down when we played ROFS last week. So hard to say from a defensive point. I wouldn't say there was an exact garrison that held it for us, but I think the boys on defense were just very, very quick to react. That when one went down, and we talked about it in the stream last week that the garrison on point is a predictable garrison. But having options to bounce off of that. So maintaining those options off the point. Obviously, if you've got one on the point, it's nice and quick and easy to get in there. But if that one goes down, making sure that we're maintaining those, those garrisons that are away from the point. It comes down to our flank squads and our sector control squads. So I think they did an awesome job in just keeping those up and making sure that the guys on defense always had an opportunity to get back into the point as soon as possible.
Yeah, and just following on from that, I think for our fourth point, off our third point, my boys fought right up to the red-blue line, put a Gary up there, and then knocked OPs for a while before we went off to attack fourth point. But for me, the Garys that did it in the end was, I think Leo got one up in the red zone in that forest where you guys were talking about Malarkey, and then my boys fought along the red-blue line, and there's that that barn right in that road that it's on the cross section there. We knocked a Gary and a couple of OPs out there, and Leo simultaneously knocked one on point. So we sort of almost hammer and anviled them. Came from two directions, which when if you guys are getting shot from every direction, it's hard to keep your helmet on your head. So for me, it's just sort of sector control and just tightening the noose until TFMC couldn't do anything essentially.
Yeah, I think looking at it from our point of view, I mean, it was a limited point of view, but for us, we saw a few red zone garrisons that really changed the momentum of the game for the 11th. One was southeast of Missouri, and then on the final point, as soon as this was super impressive from, at least from our POV, as soon as you capped the fourth point, you had a red zone southeast of their last point, so west of the mid HQ for TFMC. You had that
That's
red zone
Flying
up straight
Pharoah.
away. That was
Yeah.
a beautiful move, and I just kept the pressure up and sort of didn't allow TFMC to recollect and reestablish their Garys, and they weren't sure where you were coming from. So again, props to you boys. What do you reckon, Frankie? If you had to pinpoint a few Garrison placements that sort of maybe lost you the point or helped you defend it?
I think I'd love to answer that question, but boys, Wompy's child's actually just got sick, so I'm going to say a really big apology to all of our listeners and to the boys. Thank you for your efforts tonight, and a massive thank you to Wompy. But I think we're going to have to wrap this up right now. Really, really sorry, but I'll answer that in a podcast, Malarkey, for sure. I might even get you on and unpack that, because I had a whole different view of the game that I've never had before, trying to be a squad lead without being a squad leader. So we might unpack that then. Is that all right, boys?
Yeah, count me in.
Yeah, that's
fine, mate.
all good.
Family
Hope
first.
It's all right, Wompy.
It was a pleasure to commentate. What a fucking match.
Yeah, great
Thanks,
match, boys.
Cheers,
Sorry,
boys.
guys.
Cheers, guys. Appreciate it.
You're right,
Thank
Wompy.
you.